Hey guys, Coach Aram at Smash Vector Performance, and a lot of golfers will ask me, what is some of my favorite hip mobility exercises? As we know, we need to be able to rotate in and out of our hips if we want to hit a golf ball effectively. So my normal answer is going to be the Kickstand RDL with the kettlebell. So for the kettlebell Kickstand RDL, what you're going to want to do is set up your back heel on a wall or on a weight. You're going to grab the weight in your opposite hand of the foot that's forward, and then all we're going to do is hinge at the hips and push ourselves backwards like this. Return to starting. And give it about 10 reps. This is extremely beneficial because what it's going to do is as we move into the movement, we're flexing the hip, we're moving to the side, and we're internally rotating all in one move. So we get to tackle 3 planes of motion with one exercise. Things that we're hoping to feel in this exercise are going to be a stretch in the glute, as well as maybe some hamstring. And that's how we're going to know that we're actually getting into the hip. So one of the second exercises I like to do in a golf mobility program is going to be the kettlebell arm bar with roll. This is a great exercise for 3 different things. It's going to get us hip rotation on the bottom. We're going to get some thoracic mobility and also a shoulder warm up when we do it. So the basic steps to it, you're going to need a small weight, kettlebell. It doesn't have to be crazy heavy, 15, 20 pounds will do it. You're going to lie starting on your back, like this. And what you're going to do is get long on the bottom side. You're going to press the weight up, roll, and lift to the ceiling. Come back down, and we're going to do that for 8 to 10. So this exercise is going to be really good for internal rotation on the hip that's being rolled on. It's also going to get our thoracic spine to open up a little bit and get some rotational capabilities in the upper body. And lastly, it's going to help with some shoulder rotation since we're twisting that ball in the socket. Points of emphasis for this exercise are going to include keeping your bottom ankle nice and flat so you don't blow through your hip. And then we don't want to extend our spine to get the weight up this way. We want to stay nice and stacked. So a third exercise I like to do in the mobility portion of a golf program is going to be a split squat with a trunk rotation into the front side. So to perform this exercise, what I'm going to do is get a band. You can even use a golf club or whatever you have. You're going to get into a split stance position like this. From there, all you're going to do is spread the band a little bit, drop into a split squat, and then rotate into your front side. You can come out of the rotation and hold the squat. Or as you start to get more confident with the exercise, you can blend the movements. So it goes here and back up, in and back up. You can do that for about 8 to 10 per side as well. Should get it burning pretty good. So this exercise is going to be beneficial because it's going to blend hip loading with thoracic rotation. You should feel it in the front leg and maybe a stretch in the shoulders and ribs as you turn into that side. Points of emphasis for this exercise are going to be in your split squat, not to let your knee wobble. So when you're doing the movement, if you notice your knee moving out like this or moving in like this, you're not loading your hip and you're trying to find a way to balance. We want to make sure it's nice and straight, very still as you rotate. Another exercise I like to do in the mobility portion of a golf program is going to be called the hip with extension rotation. It's a real basic exercise where we're going to practice hinging at the hips and rotating at the same time, again, blending some of the movements we'll experience in a golf swing. So to do this one, if you set up near a wall, that's going to provide a frame of reference so you know you're maintaining depth at your hips. You hinge at the waist and you're going to rotate up to the ceiling like this, and then the other side. Rotate, back down, rotate, back down. You can do that for about 8 to 10 per side. So some cues that we might benefit from during this exercise are going to be to maintain, not leaning on the wall, but just kind of keeping your butt tapped against it to make sure that you're holding your own weight, but that you can still feel the depth in your rotation. Another point of emphasis is going to be to maintain some pressure between your knees and the backs of your hands. All right, and that's going to help us understand if we're turning this way or if we're collapsing to go like this. We're going to want to do this exercise to help practice the hip hinge, load into our heels a little bit, but also to build some thoracic rotation as we go. So one final exercise that you can use in your golf mobility program is what's called the lean away lateral line stretch. And what this is going to do is stretch out the entire outside part of your body so we can get a little bit of side bending mobility as well as getting into the hips a little bit. So to do this one, all you really need to do is find a pole. You can even do it off a golf cart, whatever you have. You're going to step your outside foot behind, reach over top like this, and hang just like that. Now, once we're into this position, you want to feel it in this rib cage here and maybe a little bit in that hip down there. We really want to focus on our breathing when we do this one, taking deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You should feel the stretch increase a little bit as you breathe. Some pitfalls for this exercise are going to be falling out of plane, and that means when we get like this, sometimes people will get way behind the pole or way kinked out this way, and we really want to make sure we're as close to in plane with what we're holding as possible. This exercise is going to be really helpful for getting us to kind of loosen up our lats a little bit, which will help us with thoracic rotation. It's also going to kind of help us get a little bit of mobility side to side in our hips. So an alternative way to do the lean away lateral line stretch, which will accomplish many of the same goals, is simply to do this. So you're just gonna kind of reach in a more linear fashion instead of getting arched all the way overhead. So if you're somebody that struggles to get into this position and you have a hard time maybe getting your arm all the way over your head, or it hurts your back to do that sort of thing, we just pivot 90 degrees, flip your hand around, and hang out like this. This variation feels a little bit different, but it'll still hit some of the lat lengthening and thoracic mobility that we're trying to target with the lean away line stretch. Thanks for watching. See you next time.